Okay, what's up, everybody? Ave Satanas, hail Satan, hail yourself. Thank you for joining in to another podcast of the Children of Lucifer. I am here with a very special guest, a very good friend of mine, Lucifer Legivorden from the Satanic Thulin Society. If you guys are not familiar with Lucifer here, I have got two of his books here in my hand, the Black Grimoire of his, and then the new version of the Satanic Testament that he just put out. How long ago was it now that you just put this out?
Oh, we put that out last year.
Really?
Yeah. What it was is I was getting really angry with the pricing of the book going through our previous publishing agency. And so I was like, you know what? This book is getting way out of hand with pricing. It was over $60, and when people included shipping and handling, they were being hit with over $70 just for one book. And I was not very happy with that. So what we did is we decided to make our own publishing imprint, and we bought our own ISBNs and everything, and we put out a fourth edition of the book. We originally didn't want to do that, but we went ahead and we did that just so we could lower the pricing for people to be able to buy it much more easily. We also switched platforms that it was distributed on.
Yeah, I actually had a copy of, I have a copy of your third edition. It cost me like $77 or something the first time, but then this one ran me around like $31 for the brand new. Man, this book is great. I'm actually rereading it for this one for the first time, but I read all the way through the third edition once prior.
Yeah, there's not too much different. There's some. I actually have a copy of both third and fourth edition. So this is a pre-published copy of the fourth edition that people can see. And here is my third edition through Lulu. Just the general quality of the printing going through our new printing company. This one's printed directly through Amazon. So that changed up the printing quality. It's almost on par with Lulu. Actually, it's better than Lulu. And you can tell like different binding, and the book itself doesn't have too much different between the two. There's more artwork in this, and there's a couple minor differences. So we did add in a few things to make it worthwhile for the readers to get. And the big main thing is, if you look on the spine, you'll see our publisher's mark, Black Flame Press. And the same goes when you look at the splash page on the inside. You can see our publisher's mark right there.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I got it. Awesome. So for those of you...
The Testament has been out. I first published that in 2011, and it was just this tiny little book. I actually have the original edition behind me on the bookshelf that people can see over my shoulder. I have all the different editions. I had actually considered pulling them out just to show people. It went from like this 200 some odd page book, and now it's over 500 pages. It's really cool.
Yeah, one thing I love about your book, man, is that it goes through all the Anan Keys at the end of the very end of the book. Goes through all the Anan Keys. You got it written in Anan and then translate it.
And then there's a phonetic pronunciation guide for each Anan key, which was something that Anton LaVey didn't do in his Satanic Bible. These Anan keys you'll find are a little bit different from LaVey's. They are my own translation from the keys. So it's like I sat down for a long time working on each one, and I had multiple different resources of saying, what does each key say? And so similarities are there. The differences are from what my understanding of the Enochian is. So it's pretty similar to LaVey's, but then there's some that really step away from it. And what I found when people actually translate the keys is they are a prophecy. So,
Really?
yeah, they are a prophecy of the satanic people, the children of Satan, rising up and taking control of the world. It is an actual prophecy.
Wow. That I have to reread them just knowing that information now. That is wow, that's actually really interesting. But for the
Yeah,
people that I was going to say,
the
for the
keys
people,
actually tell a story about how a single person, a single Satanist will rise above the rest, rally everybody behind him, and move forward. This person will be the Antichrist. Like,
yeah,
we're all Antichrists in our own right, but this guy, whoever he is, will be the Antichrist.
yeah,
And he's going to be a normal guy just like you and I, but he's going to have thoughts and ideas and a way of motivating people to get them all behind him.
right,
And
unified, right,
yeah, and all the Satanists, they're going to get behind this guy, and they're going to look at the pseudo Satanists from TST, the Gilmorons in Church of Satan, anybody who tries to mask Satanism as atheism, and they're going to be like, nah, you guys aren't allowed here. We're not going to tolerate it anymore. They're going to go out. They're going to clean up the governments as time goes on. They're going to make things their way. I'm not sure if they're going to make Satanism the main religion of the world, but by the time you reach the end of the Anan Keys, it's definitely going to be a satanic world that is prophesized.
yeah. And this is going a little bit off the beaten path. I'm going to throw this question at you because I've always wondered at this. It talks about in the book of Revelations at the end times, there will be this war between Gog and Magog. Do you have any idea in your interpretations of what Gog or Magog might actually be?
Well, all deities are what we call egregores.
Yeah.
They are an undercurrent of energy that flows through the universe that sometimes develops a string of conscious thought. What an egregore is what we call a living thought form. A living thought form is like a little kid who has an imaginary friend.
Yes.
That imaginary friend is a thought form. Now, imagine that thought form, that kid puts enough faith and belief and confidence in that thought form, or that thought form can actually start affecting the environment around that child. Now, imagine that the parent, we as parents, we see that child playing by themselves. We know that they're playing with their imaginary friend, but suddenly something out of the ordinary happens. Something that puts it in our head. There may be more going on with this imaginary friend than just a typical imaginary friend. An object moves, a response comes. You
Right.
might hear a voice. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Suddenly you believe that thought form is more than just a thought form, that imaginary friend is more than just an imaginary friend. Now that thing can start affecting the world around you as well.
Oh, wow.
Because of your belief in it. Now,
Yeah.
you move forward 2,000 years, where this thought form has had time to grow, to influence more and more and more people, up to 1/3 of the human population on the planet. Now it's the subject of one of the biggest religions in the world.
Yeah.
This thought form, it's created by man, but it is very real. It has the power to influence people. It has literature behind it. It has lore and stories attributing to it, fleshing it out, giving it shape, giving it everything it needs to be considered in an anthropomorphic way. Is this thought form anthropomorphic? No. It is transmutable. It is a thought form. It is an egregore. But it has everything it needs to affect our lives around us. And that's how we view God and Satan.
Yes. Yes. Very, very, very nice,
So
man.
we view them as very real, but just like Dr. LeVay said, they are creations of ours, of us. You know, and as creations of ours, we as a collective people have the power to destroy them as well. But just as much as we give them power, it would take just as much of an effort for us to take that back. You know, one person taking that power back isn't enough. They have millions, if not trillions of people, you know, or no, there's like billions of people. There's like 7 billion people on the planet right now. So they have billions of people, 1/3 of the human population, with firm belief and faith in them.
Yeah, we're talking about 2 to 3 billion people. I think the population is about 8 billion people right now. It's all, that's a lot. Yeah.
And that's getting a little ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah. We could go down the rabbit hole of the whole population and what the Earth can actually maintain. Like the Georgia Guidestone saying, keep the population at a manageable 500 million. And
the funny thing is, the George Guidestones was only 15 to 30 minutes away from me.
I remember you telling me this before. Were you ever there?
No, I didn't. By the time I found out where they were, we were planning to go there, and it was literally 2 days before we were going to go there to see them for the first time that those assholes blew it up.
Yeah, ain't that something, man?
Yeah, it really pissed us off because we wanted to go see them. They were literally 15 to 30 minutes away from my house.
Wow, that's interesting, man, because I wanted to see them myself. Because for those that don't know, the Georgia Guidestones, they were a statue of 4 pillars that on top sat a 5th that were in 8 different languages in the world. The 8 main languages.
They were a guide to survive. Basically, the apocalypse, you know, how to rebuild humanity after the apocalypse. And they were established by the Rosicrucians.
Right.
And it's really interesting on what they said. Fortunately, we know exactly what they said. The people who blew them up didn't get rid of their message. You know, they just destroyed the monument itself. And the city of Elberton, which is like 15, 30 minutes away. If you look on a map from where I am, it says 15 minutes, but it takes me 30 minutes to drive there. But the city of Elberton, man, those things got blown up. I saw the video. It was a controlled demolition. It was definitely planned because within 12 hours, they had bulldozers on the site. They were knocking the rest down, and they were carting off all the remains. It was clearly orchestrated by the city government, somebody in the city government of Elberton, Georgia. And
absolutely. There was no investigation on the car, the Charger that drove off.
No, there wasn't.
They never found the time capsule that was underneath. From the last I heard, there was a time capsule that was buried under there that they were digging for.
It wasn't buried underneath the Guidestones. It was buried off to the side, like maybe 20, 30 yards away.
Yeah, I remember. I thought there was something fishy about that, the whole thing, man, because it's in the middle of nowhere. If the FBI wanted to figure out who was this car, they had the car driving away, but not pulling up. They never ran cell phones, signals of who could. The only person in the middle of nowhere with the they could have found these people if they really wanted to.
If they wanted to, yeah, they really could have. And they probably still could if they really want to, but they never did. And the reason being was somebody in the local government did not want those Guidestones there. There were several people who were very unhappy about them, thought they were Satan's work, and they really had been endeavoring to get them torn down anyways. it kept on getting shut down by the state where they weren't going to tear them down. So somebody paid somebody off to just
Yeah.
go do it. And then they were ready in the wings to just clean up the whole site.
Yeah, that's it, man. Exactly. So I want to go ahead and I want to talk about who you are, Lucifer. Lucifer is one of the first people that when I came onto not the left-hand path, but into Satanism that I actually met. And I reached out. I must have asked you 100 questions the first couple of days that we talked. And I was getting the idea of what Satan really was. And I burned this man's eardrums up for like a week asking him questions. And you have been an inspiration to me. And I want to thank you for being such a great friend. And I want to everybody who does not aren't familiar with who the Satanic Thulan Society is. Can you go ahead and tell us about the Satanic Thulan Society, where it came from, and a little bit just about yourself?
Okay. Well, my name's Lucifer Legivorden. I have been an occultist since I was 14, actively. I was apprenticed traditionally in Alexandrian Gardnerian Wicca many years ago in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. I served 3 years of apprenticeship to New Forest Coven, and I achieved my high priesthood by the time I was 17. And that was my first high priesthood. And I continued to practice Wicca for another 10 years after that until I discovered the Satanic Bible. In my final year of apprenticeship, I had my first encounter with Satanism. And it was a really pleasant encounter. It was involving the Church Satan. This was just a few months before Anton LaVey passed away. And, so things were a lot different there. By the time I came back to Satanism, 10 years later, a lot had changed from then. And Gilmore was still fairly new as the new head of the Church Satan officially. And there was the whole notion of atheism being touted about. This bothered me, and I started really studying Satanism hard and studying the history of the Church of Satan, as well as the history of Satanism itself, which led me to Aquino and Setianism, Nemo and the Temple of the Vampire, and eventually I ran into Venger Satanas, who had founded the Cult of Cthulhu, or as it was called back then, Cthulhu Cult. And so I just started absorbing information from all different directions like a sponge. I started building up my own PDF library from different avenues of Satanism. I started studying everything from the Brotherhood of Satan to ONA, and just many, many different paths of Satanism. I studied Setianism, Cthulhianism, the vampire paths, as well as my main forte, LaVeyan Satanism, as Anton LaVey had originally written it. It became obvious to me pretty quickly that Peter Gilmore's atheism was not genuine to what LaVey was teaching. I mean, my first copy of the Satanic Bible still had Burton Wolf's second introduction to it, and I remember lines throughout his version of the Satanic Bible that had his introduction to it that led me to believe Satanism was very theistic.
Yes.
And so when I read Peter Gilmore's Opening the Adamantine Gates, because I lost my original copy of the Satanic Bible and I had to buy a new one. By that point, Gilmore's version of the Satanic Bible was in full swing in the bookstores, and so I had to buy this new version. I read his introduction, Opening the Adamantine Gates, and it felt completely different from the previous copy of the Satanic Bible that I had. There were lines changed in certain chapters especially the first chapter, God Wanted Dead or Alive. And there were certain things that were just deleted. It wasn't anything very much. Most of it was still there. Certainly the messaging from Anton LaVey was still there, but there were like one or two lines that had been deleted that I don't think people would really miss. But then Gilmore's introduction started dropping atheism as being Satanism.
Yes.
And so I bought his book, The Satanic Scripture, and I read through it, and it was just pounding atheism into the person, into the reader. And it was very, very different from what Anton LaVey had espoused.
Yeah, the whole tone was different.
Say that again?
I said yes. The whole tone was there. Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I said yeah. The whole tone, the flow of the structure of the books,
everything was
different.
Vastly different. And so it was just after the 6606 High Mass that I had watched that on video, and I decided to start taking steps in the satanic community as it was. And I was still really new. I got myself ordained by a Church of Satan member, and I went on to create my initial organization, which I wasn't sure what to name it, so I just called it the Dark Church of Satan at first.
Hey, if it works.
And like most Satanists, I bombed in less than a year. But it taught me that I really needed to have my thoughts and ideas written down in a book. So that's when I started working on the Satanic Testament. And I spent, probably 6 months to a year writing the book. And I came back to it a few years later, cleaned it up, and I published it in 2011. Well, fast forward to a couple of years, and we had started a small meetup group in Maryland, Hagerstown, Maryland, right across the state from you, from what I understand.
It's right up. I'm in Westminster, Maryland. Hagerstown is 40 minutes up the road from me.
Yeah, so we started there in my basement, and we just had a small little meetup group, and people would come over, they would do basic rituals, and the rituals just started building from there. I was cleaning them up, I was putting them onto printed sheets that I could hand out to my members.
Yeah.
And they just, people really liked it. And then I decided to film a solitary black mass, and I put that out there, which is still on my channel on YouTube. And so people can actually see it, because no one had filmed a full black mass and showed it from start to finish publicly by that point. And so we did so. I did so on my own. Me and Diana, we filmed it in the basement, and people love it. And so we've been doing the black mass at Walpurgis Knocked every year ever since.
Yeah, up in Ohio.
That's how Satanic Thulian Society got started. What Satanic Thulian Society is we are an organization that we decided that we wanted to go back to the fundamentals of LaVey. Ignore the 1975 schism like it never happened, and then progress it forward, minus the atheism. And it was a very interesting journey to take. I mean, we were looking at Aquino's writings, his Church of Satan book. We were looking at everything in the past of the Church of Satan, reading as much of the books as we could, finding as much literature as we could, just to discern what is the correct point zero. And we found that, and it was very relatively easy. And so we took that and we made STS out of it. Our viewers and our supporters, they voted on the name that came out to be Satanic Fooling Society. And here we are in a couple of months. In October, we will be 4 years old, active.
Yes, yes. And I make sure every month that I tune in to your high mass that you have every month on your channel. How did that come to be? Who made this? Let's do a high mass every month, and to talk about some of the things that you guys do as an organization. I know you mentioned Walpurgis Knot, which is every year in Ohio, and
we've been doing it the last 2 years in Ohio. It's not that we're set on Ohio; it's that sometimes we have other affiliates who also have events going on in Ohio that they invite us to, and so we want to go to that occasionally. But we have grottos in numerous states, and we'd like to start holding events in each different grotto that can host us. So the way we came about to doing high masses live on camera was pretty much the same way that we decided that we were going to do a black mass. We realized very quickly that in order to move forward with Satanism, in order for other people to move forward with Satanism, they should be able to see what it's about.
Yes.
And they should be able to see what it is that we do. So we decided that, okay, we're going to start filming our monthly high mass. We started doing that up in Maryland, and it was just for the meetup group. We would just, it was something regular. We would meet at the full moon, and we would conduct a high mass. And in between those time frames, we would do other things as well. So we would do like lust rituals, destruction rituals, various other rituals from different books. So that all was going on. But we felt that for STS, it was important for a central core ritual to be established and made available to everybody. This was at the dawn of COVID, when all that shit had started going down.
Yeah.
So we decided to go with that and start doing the live stream just like other churches around us were doing for Christianity. We did the live stream high mass. We started off on Facebook. We did that for a couple of years. Then we got StreamYard now, and so our high masses are streamed to multiple platforms: Facebook, YouTube. We can stream to Rumble. We can stream to X, formerly Twitter.
Yes.
So we could stream to numerous different platforms. And that has been a massively successful venture. And it's raised awareness of what a satanic ritual should look like. And to make things easier during these rituals, as well as not just for me sitting here holding a big binder, grimoire that's like weighs 1,000,000 tons, I wrote a few companion books. I republished the Satanic Testament with some new thoughts in it that led to the second edition. And then we also published this book, The Black Grimoire, which you can get off of Amazon, and which is filled with different rituals, including high masses, black masses. There's 2 high masses in it, and then there's 3 black masses. There's rituals of destruction.
My favorite,
pet funeral rituals. We're the only organization with a full pet funerary rite, which we've actually performed several times. So yeah, there's a lot there.
Complete high mass. You have all the masses in this one. I love the Black Grimoire. There's also an accompanied red grimoire, what I have a copy of, but I could not find it right before we started Yeah, the red grimoire right there. And right before we started recording, I haven't been able to find. I gotta guess I might have left it. I do a lot of traveling. I might have left it in a hotel, and maybe somebody might have picked it up. Maybe you have a follower now, some housekeeper or something. But yeah, the ritual of destruction. I found this ritual of destruction, and when I actually used this, I was practicing it, and I actually cursed an ex-probation officer of mine that I haven't even told you about the last. I told you that I was about to do it. Since she's lost her job, and yeah, her position, and
I
I tell you,
remember consulting with you on it and telling you a few things that you should do. And so it's interesting that you point that out, that, you know, since you did it, she's lost her job.
yeah,
That's a good example of how a destruction ritual can work.
yeah, yes, I absolutely love. I practice on my own through some of these masses, just messing around with it in my room here. I'll set up my room where I have some skulls and some candles, incense burning, and I'll go through some of these practice like
It gets a little hard for most people to set up a ritual chamber. A lot of them can't set up something like what people can see behind me, what they see in my general rituals. We have a full room dedicated to our satanic practices, which is what I'm sitting in now. It's called the Black Parlor,
yeah,
and it's fully set up. Most people, they don't have access to that. So I always love it when I hear people saying that they do still manage to practice even in their bedroom or in their house where they may not be able to have exactly what I have here.
yeah. I change my room every day. So I had a stroke back in November. I know you know this, but for the people that are watching, I had a stroke back in November. So this room that I have found myself living in for like the last year, I make it my office. It's always my bedroom, and I set up uh my ritual space every night. I go through, set it up. You know, I actually killed this very deer right here, which is like the centerpiece for my uh altar. And me and my father make knives, so this is a knife that my father made. But I I try to have stuff that I find, not stuff that I buy, but everything has some sort of energy that's attached to me. Or
Exactly. Yeah.
you know, I,
That's actually a really good point to tell most people is when you are building up your ritual items, these should be items that are personal to you.
yes,
And you don't have to go out and buy everything at once. Actually, it's better if you build up your altar supplies over a course of time. Uh, so I mean, if people look behind me, everything on my altar actually has a very valuable meaning to me, from this chalice, which is actually my second chalice,
that is too.
to the knives that are on the altar, such as this one, which people will recognize from my rituals. It's a
Yep,
selenite knife that I use to call the corners. And so, yeah.
that's
And
nice.
just other actions. They could be gifts from friends. The shofar above the altar here is directly from Jerusalem.
Oh,
So,
really?
yep, that's from Jerusalem. Um,
Did you
and
go
then
there
off
yourself?
to the side here, I can't reach it right now, but people note that my stone burn bowl, if they've seen my rituals, they'll note
Yeah.
that I have a stone burn bowl next to me. This is that burn bowl is actually over 1,000 years old. It's the oldest item in this house. And it was actually a sacrificial bowl that was
Wow.
used to catch blood. It's made out of solid granite, and it was really interesting when I bought it. I bought it. I found it in a pawn shop. The guy had been trying to sell it. No one wanted to buy it, and so he was, dropping the price down to bargain basement prices. And I picked it up, and he said, no one wants to buy this thing because people it caught the blood of human sacrifices back in the day. It was an old Norse or some sort of European sacrificial bull that when he bought it, it still had deep blood stains in the stonework on the inside. He had worked his best to try to scrub them out.
Wow.
There was still some dark staining down in the bottom of the bowl when I bought it. Now I use it in a very similar manner, but not to catch blood, but to, burn requests for compassion, lust, or destruction in. And so it's a very unique item that acquired over the years. We have other unique items. We have voodoo dolls from Haiti. We have animal skulls. We have things that we find all over the property, like snake skins, animal bones, certain bugs that you don't see every day. Like we have these massive, huge beetles that we have like several of them in the jars there. We have a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say, you were talking about your burn bowl and you all your ritual. When doing your rituals, you're very intimate with your audience too. You take requests for lust and passion and destruction. You're very interactive with your audience, which sets you guys apart from other organizations. I know how you interact with your members. And that's what, it's really awesome. If you guys have not checked out Lucifer Legivorden's Satanic Thorn Society, we're going to have to make sure at the end of this we give links to your pages and how people can contact you. And so I'm not going to go on too much long, but I want to ask you, what is next for the Satanic Thorn Society? I know you guys are based out of North Carolina, but you have South Carolina, but you have different chapters. A friend that I met through you, Johnny Drett, owns the Tennessee Grotto. And you guys are branching out. You guys are actually you're a movement, not just an organization, but it's a movement.
Yeah, we are a movement. We have multiple members in multiple states. We are an active learning. Our clergy is a teaching clergy. So we have elders like Johnny Dredd Draconis, who has been around in the occult for decades, that has achieved ordainment through us. And they are teaching. They are teachers as well. They're willing to teach. Our Grand Archon, he's come up with this beautiful system to teach our apprentices so people can join us and they can work their way up through our degrees and our ranks and actually learn not just about LaVeyan Satanism, but the denominations underneath LaVey that sprung from him. And they learn everything from Setianism to even Gilmorianism. Even though we don't promote that, we don't allow that, we still teach people about it. We still teach people the philosophy of it. We also teach the vampire traditions that was founded by Magister Nemo back in 1988, which spawned the Temple of the Vampire.
Right.
We teach also Cthulhianism. Cthulhianism is a major part of Satanism, of Anton LaVey's Satanism, and Avenger Satanis, he started a new branch of Satanism back in the early 2000s. I was part of his organization, and now with his blessing, I now run it. I'm actually wearing a nice Cthulhu shirt right now, one of my favorite.
You actually own the Cult of Cthulhu, correct? You guys?
Yes, I am the technical owner. What had happened, how that had come about, was Venger had chosen to walk away from the cult for personal reasons. He's explained those reasons to me, and they make sense. He wanted to focus much more on his personal business and then on his family. There's rumors running around that he turned Christian. They're false. He's still He's still a Cthulhian cultist and Satanist through and through.
Right.
But he's more focused right now on running his gaming company, which he created several wonderful tabletop games like Chalt, and it's an interesting game. But after he left, an individual by the name of Winter took over. You know, he kind of snuck his way in and sort of hijacked the whole thing.
Yeah.
And in a way, he actually helped it. He, you know, it wasn't like it was a bad hijacking. He did it, and he took it in a new direction, and he had a massive following. But then he started doing some shady stuff, and his members decided that, well, they didn't want anything further to do with him, and they broke away from him. One of those members came to us, and he was not having a very good experience with another member in their branch off organization. And so he came to us, and along with him came a lot of information that we were able to utilize. After we looked into various legal avenues, we acquired the rights to the artwork used in Winter's Bible of Cthulhu. We acquired all the copyrights to them. And we filed, we reached out to Venture. He was gracious enough to respond to us and support us in us taking it over. He was very thrilled that one of his old members had come back to set the record straight, because I was really enamored with Winter. Him and I shared numerous friendly emails, and I had asked him if he had ever been part of Venture's Cult of Cthulhu, and you know, I've shown people this email. He flat out, he lied. He said he wasn't. And when we looked back into the forums, because the original forums are still up and running, when we looked back into the original forums, lo and behold, there was Winter all over them, you know, talking about doing exactly what he did. And so he openly lied. He lied directly to my face about it.
Wow.
And we filed here in South Carolina, we filed the claim, the company, as an LLC. So that, along with the support of Venture, as well as the support of other cultists who, you know, has grown an interest in what we're doing, we were able to take it over last year.
Yeah.
And it was really good.
You guys done a lot in 4 years.
It caused a massive kerfuffle.
Yeah.
There were some people who really don't like the fact that the Cult of Cthulhu is satanic.
Right.
But you know, they have. All I can say to them is they have to get over it, because it started off satanic. We were able to establish and show the history of Satanism in Cthulhianism and how Cthulhianism influenced LaVey's Satanism, and we even flat out asked Venture himself, was this intended to be satanic? And he said, yes, absolutely, 100%. It was always intended to be satanic. Even Winter had satanic elements in his Cthulhu's Bible of Cthulhu. So, you know, we were able to establish that. People don't like that. And it's unfortunate. You know, I understand that they don't like that. They want to attribute other things to it, but that's what Cthulhianism is. Even in Lovecraft's stories, Cthulhianism, which he called Yog-Sothothery, was supposed to be a satanic movement.
Yes. Interesting. And on top of all this, you guys also own the rights to Cloven Hoof Magazine.
Yes, that's one of our biggest feathers in the cap, was how we were able to take the Cloven Hoof Magazine, the original publication of Anton LaVey for the Church of Satan. We, you know, Gilmore had shut it down over 20 years ago. And he did so specifically to hide certain things in various back issues. I guess he felt that by shutting it that down, as well as shutting down his Black Flame magazine, that he would be able to hide some of the things that he had done in the past, as well as hide some of the doctrines espoused by LeVay and others in early issues of the magazine. We were able to acquire the rights to bring the magazine back. We can't publish previous issues of the magazine before we took it over, but we were able to at least bring back the title and bring back the magazine for Satanists. We've received massive positive feedback from the vast majority of the Satanic community, minus the Church of Satan. Of course, they're pretty pissed off that we did it, that we were even able to do it. They thought that they were bulletproof on it, and we were able to just come in and just be like, nope, we're walking away with this. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
We're currently working on the next issue. Hopefully that'll be out by the middle of next month. We're still hammering out details of what's going to be in it. And it's issue 10. We put out 10 issues of the magazine now. It was really interesting because I showed the magazine to Stanton LeVay as well as Sharon LeVay. Our third issue, we actually put out as a memorial issue to Stanton. Stanton was a big supporter of us taking over the magazine. Sharon LeVay, she has been a wonderful supporter of ours in the magazine. We donated half of that issue's proceeds to her family to help pay for Stanton's funeral.
Yeah, rest in peace.
To date, that has been our biggest selling copy of the magazine, our biggest selling issue.
Yes. Yeah, I was just going to ask you, but you kind of hit on the head. The question I was going to ask was, what was your relationship like with Stanton? But how well did you know him?
Well, I didn't know him very well. We spoke through text messages. And when we did speak through text messages, we got along great. He was a really interesting person to get to know. And he had some ideas that he fired off to me. I had ideas that I fired off to him. We were working on a couple projects together. They were still very in the early on. And unfortunately, he passed away before we could really do much with those projects. And that was the sad and unfortunate thing.
Yeah, very sad. It was a drug overdose, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, what?
What was it, a drug overdose?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the details.
Okay, gotcha.
I know the details, but I'm not at liberty to discuss them.
I got you. I understand that. So, also, you're always looking for models to be on your next Cloven Hoof magazine. Any kind of like a centerfold. We're not talking gratuitous nudity, but we are talking more like Playboy style. Any women out there that might be interested?
Yeah, our magazine, the new Cloven Hoof. We definitely, one of the little highlights that we like is we do put in nude centerfolds in it. Definitely along the lines of Playboy. Occasionally we'll have a XXX edition of the magazine that goes beyond nudity. It's very cheeky. We have no problem talking about adult topics. We are not censored at all. We're not afraid to show, blood, guts, and gore if we need to. We have comic strips in the magazine. We feature artists. We feature other Satanists. It is a magazine literally written by Satanists for Satanists. And, we do it with class and style, but at the same time, we try not to go overboard too much because we want it to be very tasteful.
Yes.
But at the same time of all that, we still don't censor ourselves.
Yeah.
We cuss in it. We show nudity. We're more than happy to show gratuitous sex if need be. or even other more graphic, violent scenes, just so people can see them and understand what is going on. One issue in the back, we were talking about a very dangerous satanic organization that was partially taken down by the FBI. They had threatened us directly, and they had posted pictures of ISIS killing people and saying that that's what would be done to me, to my family, to other people in the organization. And of course, we presented all this directly to the FBI ourselves. We had no problem going to the FBI and showing them, hey, we're being threatened by this group. And so, yeah.
Wow. That's great. Man. Lucifer, I want to thank you for coming on here. You've been such an inspiration to me. And I don't want to go on too much further, but I'm going to have you come back on now that my audience is going to get to know you, who you are. Tell us where they can contact you. Tell us about membership and where can they find out more about the Satanic Thorn Society?
Okay. Well, we're all over Facebook. We own multiple different Facebook groups that some are very quiet, some are very active. We have a Facebook page there, as well as we have our own website, which the links to most of the stuff will be, I'll give you those links. You can put them in the description below.
Yeah.
But you can email us from our website. You can reach out to us. Our membership info is all on the website. When you join Satanic Thulian Society, it is $150 to join us. That was our original price that we started off with. We dropped it down. We were experimenting with it for a while there. Now we're back up to that.
And that's a lifetime. That's a lifetime membership. That's a lifetime membership.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lifetime membership. It's a one-time only fee. And unlike when you pay like $225 or $240 to the Church of Satan, when you give us $150, we put that money back into you.
Yes. So
what you get from us is a big membership package. And what's going to be in it, you're going to have a set of robes. You're going to have your membership certs, your membership card. You're going to have a welcome letter. You're going to have access through a flash drive to my personal PDF library. We're going to be kind of chopping that up a bit for the future members, though, so they can get access to different parts of it at different tiers so they can remain focused on what they're training with. You're going to get a physical hard copy of the latest edition of the Cloven Hoof. So this is actually a really good way to sort of get this book. And yeah, you're paying a little bit more upfront, but you're getting a lot more out of it as well.
Yeah.
So you get what you pay for with us. Other things that you get is you get a small little trap back poster that is of that sigil right there.
Yes.
And you get just a bunch of different things to help you on your path. You know, there's other little goodies in it. I can't really explain what everything is going to be. It could be anything from patches to medallions, which we are working on restocking these. We're out of these right now. I think I got like one left. And so we're going to be restocking our trap back medallions. You could get all sorts of different surprises in it that you may not realize that we're going to send you. But the basic core is you get a full starter kit to get involved with STS. And then on top of that, you might get an invite in your membership package to our private social network. Yes, we have a private social network that is not open to the public. It's only open to specific people, friends of our organization, as well as members of our organization that, you know, we put out there. And so that's a place away from Facebook, because we all know how Facebook censors everybody.
Oh man.
You know, it's a place that they can be, you know, more open without any sort of judgment or criticism.
Great. Awesome. Lucifer,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for being such a great friend to me. Also, such an inspiration. All that you've done for me. I mean, guys, check out Satanic Thorn Society. Reach out to Lucifer Legivorden. He can answer. I know you're very personal with everybody. You helped me come onto this path, and I know that you will reciprocate that and do that for others as well. You are a very personal and likable guy. Thank you for
Thank you.
everything. Yeah, no, thank you, man. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for doing this interview with me. You're like one of the first big name person I brought onto this podcast. We're going to have you back again. Thank
I
you, Lucifer.
appreciate it. You know, thank you for having me, Matt.
Yeah. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you. Thank you.
Talk to you later.